baru baca grup jam 10 malam. Dia kayak gue harus benerin ini. Pasti gatel kan tangannya karena it seems like ini tuh your baby gitu. So I think the important thing adalah know when to stop juga gitu. Toh juga kalau kamu balas jam 12 malam dia juga mungkin kerjain jam 12 malam.
That's kind of true. That is kind of true.
Yeah, when I move back, I'm gonna try to sell a protein shake. What do you think?
Okay.
And they were like, you should go to gym.
Yang sebenarnya kelihatan sehat atau mungkin kelihatan apa ya kayak gemoy gitu kan orang-orang bilang itu pasti sehat tuh gitu kan.
Yang perutnya buncit.
Iya, sebenarnya
not.
Kids can be obese and also stunted.
Hello everyone, this is Ray again from Nalar Bicara. Today I have a special guest, two sisters in startups. Everyone please welcome Laura and Karina. Thanks for coming, guys.
Thank you for your time.
It's amazing. It's amazing to have you here. You guys look amazing.
Thank you. You too.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Now, please let's start by sharing your background. The business you're currently working in at the moment. You guys are sisters, but then I'm curious. Why are you working on the two different ideas? What's going on? So you probably want to start. Laura first?
Sure. Well, I'm building ArcoPay.
Yeah.
It's a construction fintech helping construction SMEs in Indonesia.
Yeah.
I guess you started your startup first before I moved back, so.
Oh, okay. Okay. So you guys were in Seattle.
Yeah.
You were in Seattle before, and Karina moved back to Jakarta first, and then you start your startup first, Little Joy.
Not entirely.
Not entirely. Okay.
I went back on 2015.
2015. Yep.
I started previous several enterprises before starting Little Joy.
Okay.
But before she came back.
Oh, before she came back, but then ArcoPay was your first enterprise before when you came back.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. So what's the idea behind ArcoPay? Why did you see there's a opportunity there?
Yeah, well, our family business is in construction.
Okay.
We've been established for about 25, 30 years, yeah.
Okay.
And then from there, I think I see the needs for working capital since we were like a small contractor until like become developers. So I see like the financial gap within it, and that's how inspired to help like these construction SMEs, particularly on the contractor side, to access working capital easier in Indo. Yeah.
Well, so your parents already started the business of in the construction business before.
Yeah.
Okay. So you're kind of like looking at okay, there's a gap here where there's a lot of other smaller contractor need the capital to operate basically.
Yeah, correct.
So have you actually been looking at it while you were overseas, or you just figure it out when you came back?
Figure it when I came back.
Figure it out when you came back.
Like my background is in accounting and finance.
Amazing.
And then, accountants.
Accountants. And then?
So when I help my parents on the construction business side, then that's when I see like, oh, I guess it's always the same issue, just a different amount of working capital needed for every projects.
Depending on how big the project is and all that. Okay. But then when you came back, you saw Karina's building her Little Joy, and you were like, should I help her or should I go out by myself? Like what's the behind the thought here?
I think,
or is it stop of my passion? that kind of enlightenment.
I mean, I love kids. I mean, we were talking about it, right? Like, oh, should I jump into like the CFO role because I'm on an accounting side?
Yeah.
But then I think at that time we're just trying to like different ideas and see where it goes.
Yeah.
So I tried out my idea first. Like, oh yeah, maybe later if it doesn't work out, then I'll join her.
That's a bit of a
right. There's a backup right
there's
here.
There's a backup right there. Oh, so you know that you're becoming her backup if everything goes wrong.
Always.
What a sister's
the role of a big
amazing.
sister, you know?
Yeah, amazing. Oh, how about you, Karina? What made you started Little Joy at the beginning?
I think everyone asks the same question because I'm not a mother yet.
Okay. I think I'm in the position where you can start any business, right? Regardless your situation, right? So yeah, please come on.
I think it's more like when I see my niece.
Yeah.
So when she, not entirely niece, I mean like our cousin's daughter.
Okay, cousin's daughter.
She's not a mom yet.
I was thinking, oh, maybe from the other siblings.
Not me.
So when she was 8 months old,
Yep.
jadi kan dia belum ada gigi gitu ya.
Right.
Cuma dia tuh kepo banget, kayak when the parents eat spaghetti atau buncis,
Yep.
itu dia juga mau makan gitu.
I see.
So to the point like dia tuh nggak bisa masuk anything karena nggak ada yang bisa dikunyah.
Oh.
Terus waktu dia ke dokter dia kayak, ini tuh anak lu udah malnutrition deficiency, so like early stage of malnutrition.
Malnutrition, yeah.
Terus akhirnya kenapa our first product tuh jadi in terms of nutritious powder,
Yep.
karena jadi kalau misalnya dia kepo gitu lihat mamahnya makan nasi goreng dia mau juga, bisa ditaburin terus dia kayak emut-emut and it dissolve in the mouth, dia juga dapat the nutrient.
Okay.
Then we, my partner and I went to like East of Java yang bener-bener masih tetanggaan sama tier 1 cities lah.
Okay.
Nah terus kita kayak penyuluhan gitu, kita tanya-tanya apa sih sebenarnya yang dikasih anak nih buat MPASI gitu.
Yep.
Dan kita lihat yang deket banget sama Jakarta aja tuh masih nggak tahu gitu, kayak misalnya contoh, oh bayam itu high in iron, terus kayak as simple as eating 1 egg in a day itu bisa minimize the risk of stunting. So
Is that right?
Yeah, it's true.
Well, I'm being educated. Yeah. Go on. Because I have 2 kids, right? So I'm interested to hear what's going on. Am I doing it right or am I doing it wrong? You know? Okay, go in.
So I think from my niece story and from what we observe yang masih within the islands of capital city of Indonesia tuh kita pikir kayak, oh kalau misalnya itu aja tuh banyak, no wonder like stunting has always been a problem in Indonesia gitu.
Sorry, just go back a little bit on stunting. Stunting tuh, how do you define stunting? Stunting tuh apa sih gitu?
Jadi kalau misalnya malnutrition itu dibagi 2, ada satu namanya wasting. The name is ugly, I know, but itu namanya wasting. Wasting tuh dimana dia tuh kekurangan berat badan, terus mungkin dia tuh banyak tuh anak ke iron deficiency gitu, terus protein deficiency juga. Nah kalau misalnya wasting yang prolong wasting kelamaan itu bisa jadi stunting. Sebenarnya stunted children tuh udah nggak terlalu bisa nggak bisa diperbaikin anymore.
Right.
So when the kids was diagnosed by nutrient deficiency atau wasting itu, that period of time is very critical for mothers to improve on the food intake and everything else.
How can you tell a kid has a stunting?
Selain
Are they short or like how can you tell?
Nah kalau misalnya stunted children itu dia immune barrier systemnya tuh is very weak. Jadi contohnya dia 12 kali lebih risky untuk terpapar sakit.
Got it.
Terus udah gitu kalau misalnya stunting itself tuh juga contribute more than 50% of child mortality in 1 year. So it's very very critical juga. Jadi selain dari immune systemnya dia gampang sakit, terus mungkin apa ya bahasanya? Kayak dia jadi lola gitu loh, karena
lola
kayak apa ya, kayak lebih daya tangkapnya tuh lebih kurang gitu. Soalnya the background is di 1000 hari pertama tuh dari hamil sampai dia 3 tahun, itu tuh actually 80% of brain development happen during that time for each individuals. Nah kalau misalnya stunting tuh kebanyakan happen during those period of time, the golden period. Kalau misalnya dia nggak optimal nutrisinya dan itu menjadikan dia stunting, biasanya dia jadi lola gitu. Nah udah besar usually stunted individual tuh IQ-nya jauh lebih rendah, sekitar 50 sampai 70 gitu contohnya.
Really below the average.
Below the average.
Like
itu.
even Indonesian average is already low, and they could be even lower.
Jadi kalau orang-orang bilang stunted children tuh misalnya dilihat dari yang kayak tulangnya kelihatan gitu kan, atau
Skinny.
misalnya terus misalnya perutnya buncit, kayak I don't think bisa dilihat dari physical aja gitu.
I see.
Yang sebenarnya kelihatan sehat atau mungkin kelihatan apa ya, kayak gemoy gitu kan, orang-orang bilang oh itu pasti sehat tuh gitu kan.
Yang perutnya buncit gitu
Iya,
kan.
sebenarnya
they're not.
kids can be obese and also stunted.
I've seen a lot of kids like that these days. I would have thought that mereka itu kayak kebanyakan nggak enough outdoor activities kind of thing, lebih banyakan di rumah main gadget and all that. Jadi kayak terus dikasih makannya nasinya banyak banget gitu. Jadi kayak they still like SD kayak gitu, cuman gendut gitu. Perutnya udah buncit kayak bapak-bapak gitu.
Iya, interesting data on Indonesia tuh kayak misalnya protein intake kita 3,9 gram. Tapi kita punya karbohidrat tuh 27 gram. Jadi kayak perbandingan 1:9 gitu. So kayak kids yang kelihatannya sehat, gendut gitu, bisa aja dia kebanyakan karbo, kebanyakan sugar. Tapi dia nggak ada protein yang sebenarnya juga
And then it goes back to the access to their parents to, well, one obviously educationnya gitu ya. Jadi mereka nggak tahu, yang penting kan anak saya gendut sehat gitu kan, padahal mungkin isinya karbo semua gitu. And then the second one, that's the education part. So the second one probably the ability for the parents to actually provide the protein itself kan. Karena ya let's be honest, protein for a lot of people mungkin unreachable gitu kan.
And I think I wanna add also on the supply chain sih.
Okay.
Soalnya kayak across Indonesia kan kita ada 17.000 island. Kalau misalnya di US it's so seamless. Kita misalnya dari ujung barat ke ujung timur logistiknya murah gitu. Tapi I saw kita punya marketplace, kita punya reseller gitu. There are growths di Papua, di Maluku, di Nusa Tenggara Barat yang beli produk kita. Cuma logistik wise itu 2 kali lebih mahal dibanding produk kita. Itu satu, logistiknya kita tuh susah banget. And I also understand karena kita banyak banget island kan. And second, yang tadi kamu bilang in terms of food access juga iya gitu. Mungkin kalau misalnya kita bisa dapat fresh salmon every day atau fresh beef every day, itu salmon sama beef sampai Papua udah nggak tahu bentuknya kayak apa.
Jakarta udah mahal banget.
Ada bentuknya bagus, harga di sini 50.000, di sana 500.000.
Iya makanya udah nggak make sense sih.
I think that's also the case.
Okay. Well now, I would like to know how is your upbringing shape your decision of becoming a startup founder? Let me separate between the startup founder and the conventional business founders, right? You're taking it to the next level. Startup founders is a lot. I feel like it's a lot harder than becoming a conventional business founders. But what do you think your upbringing, how you grew up, affect your decisions to start a business?
I think our family is pretty entrepreneurial. I mean, my parents, our parents, not just mine.
My parents.
Our parents.
Okay, my parents, not yours.
My mom and dad. Our parents started their own business together, and like construction companies and other small businesses too. I think from there, they always encourage us to try. And we always have like crazy ideas and random products and business ideas.
Such as, I would like to hear what are the most random ideas that you guys ever had? Hey sis, listen, I got this idea. What do you think?
Last time, coba apa? Jual cakwe gitu.
Okay.
Whatever, I think even in Seattle, you sold like water, infused water.
Wow.
Kombucha.
Already did back then.
Yeah.
It's amazing.
Try to sell like donuts and then face masks, everything. I think we just try different things. And I think it's just more like they're not pretty like tiger parents, but they always like very supportive.
Yeah, of course.
So I guess that's how we kind of always try to try things out and see how it goes, and never really scared of like oh, if it's gonna fail, then let's try again.
Yeah, try again.
Not really like.
Very supportive.
Yeah.
And I can imagine like during your dinner time on the table, you'd be talking a lot about, okay, starting a business and, you know, how the business is going, those kind of conversations that I feel like a lot of family are missing out on.
Yeah, we do.
Is that, yeah?
Yeah.
Is that something that you always talk on a dinner table?
Is it?
Always, but yeah, there are times.
Yeah?
Yeah, often.
Often, I'm pretty sure it's often because a lot of families out there would think that dinner table is such a sacred place, not to talk about money or whatever on the thing, right? So, is that obviously that's not something that your experience back then?
I think we spent a lot of time in the dinner table, like breakfast, lunch, and dinner.
Together.
Yeah,
And then talking
so-
about, okay, yang mana nih yang cuan nih?
Cuan-cuan lucu.
itu hashtagnya kita sekarang.
Nice. Yeah, I guess. I mean, there's a lot of conversation that happens
Yeah.
at a dinner table, and
Yeah.
obviously like business and.
Is your business idea, your startups, both of you started in the dinner table? Did you have to kind of ask for what do you call it, like validation from your parents? Hey, mom, dad, I got this idea. What do you think?
I did ask them.
Yep.
Yeah, when I moved back.
Yeah.
Like, I'm gonna try to sell a protein shake. What do you think?
Okay.
And they were like, you should go to gym.
Okay, but they kind of approving the idea of Arcopay and Little Joy.
Yeah, I think from the very beginning, they're
From the very beginning, they're
supportive.
supportive on that. Okay, so there's no like, oh, why are you doing that? It's, you know.
Oh, as long as we still help the family business, I think they're pretty chill about
Okay.
it. Yeah.
Okay, so there's a caveat there. Okay, you
Caveat.
can do
Make
whatever,
sure you
but
don't,
then
like, neglect
family
us.
business
Yeah.
keep going on that. Excellent. Now, collaboration can be a strength in the family, and I see that it seems like you're, well, correct me if I'm wrong, it seems like you're very supportive towards each other, right? Any moments where your expertise in different field helps each other?
You want to start first? Or?
Yeah, probably Karina first. You wanna say it out loud what Laura has been helping you with in your business?
Well, a lot. I think recently,
Yeah.
she helped me in the renovation of live stream kita punya room gitu.
Oh,
Go check it out.
I gotta
all
check
yellow.
it out. Yeah. Oh, yellow.
Yeah, very bright.
Okay. So that in that side as well. Anything else that you can think of?
I think in general tuh, although kita tuh masing-masing ada partner sendiri gitu
Yeah.
ya, but then it's only within the professional scope.
Correct.
Nggak mungkin kita bisa share everything lah gitu.
Oh, really?
So I think
Interesting.
in terms of collaboration, in
Yeah.
terms of how we synergize to each other, I think we're very fortunate tuh dimana itu tuh bisa di luar hal-hal yang kelihatan kasat mata, kelihatan di luar hal-hal yang materialistik lah gitu. Ada hal-hal yang juga imaterial,
Okay.
apa yang kita bilang intangible asset. Kan?
Does that include like emotional?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
Kayak maksudnya being an entrepreneur and being a startup founder yang
Yeah.
tiap hari dikejar-kejar target tuh,
Yep.
kita punya mental well-being harus waras banget
Benar,
kan. And
benar.
sometimes mental well-being tuh comes at ease tuh at home. Apakah itu di rumah aku ngomel-ngomel ke dia,
Yeah,
itu juga bisa.
yeah.
Atau at time dia pulang dari klien dia ngomel-ngomel
Yeah,
gitu. Atau as simple as kita di rumah working side by side itu juga
It's
actually improve gitu.
It's a part of way of you guys supporting each other, kind of. But then you guys, you mentioned that you have sisters to, give out your feelings out, to let the feelings out. Something that's not probably you can't do it at work, right? But then she's a startup founder as well. She has a her problems, right?
Kan kita ada kalender.
Oh, ada kalender. Okay.
Senin, Selasa, Rabu waktunya aku let it out.
Udah di split gitu ya jadinya ya. Okay, smart. Ganti-gantian gitu ya. Jadi sorry sis, this is not your time yet. So you have to wait until tomorrow. Yeah. Okay. So how about you?
I think I would say she's more on the creative side.
Okay.
She helps me a lot with my deck.
Oh, okay.
But I guess in terms of like the input and everything,
yeah.
Because when I started, it's still very new for me, and she had that experience before. So I think that's when it comes to play in terms of her experience and training me to like, oh, you should do this and that, probably try this, and all the inputs was like really helpful.
Okay.
Deck also.
Deck. I heard deck twice already now. Very important. Very important. But is there any disagreements at all? What I'm saying is, you know, your sisters work within the same industries, even though you're not working in the same business. But is there any agreements on how you approach things? Say, for example, okay, you have this idea. How do you approach? How do you sell it to the customer? Do you have any disagreements that kind, like healthy disagreements? Yeah, I'm not talking about like, you know, you're slapping each other or anything. Right? This is more like a healthy professional disagreements. Why I disagree with your approach to bring this company forward. Is there such thing?
I think since we working on the different industry, kalau misalnya aku kan lebih trader, lebih end customer, so the effect of the product itu lebih yang kita concerning gitu, lebih yang kayak misalnya I want to understand my customer more tuh lebih di luar apakah dia beli produk kita atau enggak, itu sebenarnya efeknya itu apa gitu, apakah produk itu berarti atau enggak. Nah tapi kan kalau misalnya dia lebih industri di Indo lebih kayak message ke lebih kayak B2B gitu, misalnya construction gue harus provide financing, apakah bisa material, tukang, so it's more on the practical side, I think lebih kayak gitu.
Okay.
So far, you see, I don't think there's a disagreement.
Huge disagreement. Okay, so you guys
beda target market kali ya.
Okay, but I'm saying is that you guys have your own way of thinking, I guess, right? Like you probably have opinion on something that the other one would be disagreed on. That kind of disagreeing. What I'm saying.
Oh, I think just more like on the approach. I think I would say she's more cautious. Like, coba ini dulu.
Okay.
For me, just more like.
Kalau lu main langsung tabrak-tabrakan, sat gitu ya.
Ayo coba dipikir dulu kalau gini. Like, oh ya benar juga sih.
Okay. That's interesting. Now, since you're in the industry where female entrepreneurs is quite, I would say, way less in numbers compared to male entrepreneurs, right? So, do you think women entrepreneurs can bring different perspective or strength to entrepreneurships?
I think women tend to be more risk-averse, and emotional.
I have to agree with that.
Yeah. So I guess
I agree the first one, not the second one. By the way, just for record. Yeah.
I think in terms of like decision making, I think we're just more, I would say more well-rounded and just more like taking step by step, because I work with companies before, like a CEO are like male dominated, and
even then your industry is basically male dominated industry, right?
Yeah, everything's just more like faster and not really think about like, oh, what happened about this and that. Which now I'm leaning towards like that too, but I think there's still some parts where we usually consider other things as well.
Okay.
More like emotional on that part too. But yeah, I think so, I'm not sure. What do you think?
Any example?
Sometimes you feel bad, right?
Right.
When you do collection and then you feel bad. But
you feel bad doing collection?
Nope, not anymore now.
You can't do it, sis.
And the beginning I was like, okay, another month. And I was like, nope.
Pay now. Pay now. What about you, Karina? Do you think female entrepreneurs make better decisions?
I think so. I think kalau misalnya secara data gitu ya, sebenarnya kan 40% of world GDP itu dominated sama wanita. Terus udah gitu kita tahulah wanita itu yang biasanya handle financing in the household. Apakah?
That's true.
Apa?
I had to take a pause and then think. Yeah, that's true.
Bukan berarti maksudnya dia yang pegang keseluruhan duit ya, maksudnya how dia manage untuk makanan, untuk kayak school kids segala macam kan itu biasanya cewek ya gitu. So I think in terms of woman entrepreneur approach tuh pertama dari segi financing menurut aku akan lebih baik karena memang kita terbiasa untuk kayak gitu dan to be honest kita juga jago spending.
I was going to say Mel tend to spend on stupid shit. Okay, but yeah.
Countries punya ekonomi tuh nggak mungkin jalan tanpa woman spending, tanpa woman punya scheduling financing lah anggapannya gitu.
Okay.
Terus yang nomor 2 in terms of emotion, I think kita lebih bisa play around with it.
Okay.
Bukannya in a negative way ya, maksudnya in a positive way itu I think women's leader tuh mereka lebih bisa understanding.
So more empathize.
Yeah.
Okay.
Dan kita punya emotional intelligence tuh lebih tinggi dibanding pria dalam arti kita lebih perasa, lebih kayak
I have to agree.
lebih bisa
setuju.
motivate employee untuk apakah kerja lebih baik atau apa gitu.
So it's like a borderline how should I say it, like a mother, like they're taking care of the ships kind of thing. Okay. No, I totally agree with that notion. The fact that probably the question though, you guys like making impulsive decisions
on what?
On decision, not shopping. I don't have to ask on that one, but the on many business decisions. Like, do you guys take your time to make decisions, or how do you guys make decisions at work?
I think it was like a big decision. I usually take a longer time.
Compared
to like smaller decision that
and you guys usually talk to each other. Hey, I'm about to make these decisions. What do you think? Is it like that kind of
decision? Yeah, for sure.
Okay. Including taking VC money. That's actually a good segue to my next questions. Why do you take the route of external funding or VC funding than the conventional approach for your business? What was the initial thought on that?
I think for me, it wasn't really on like the funding itself.
Yeah.
When I moved back, like I don't really know. I was friendless.
Oh.
I was trying to reconnect with like high school and college friends, but that's not enough, right? Like when I was trying to start my business, I was looking for a CTO.
Okay.
And I was like, oh, who should I talk to?
Yeah.
So that's when I joined Antler. For just for an idea of like meeting new people and like a well-minded like network. So it wasn't really looking for the funding itself.
Yep.
And then from there, just I didn't know why.
It just keeps going. Oh, what's going on?
And then suddenly another funding.
Yeah. Well, congratulations on that.
Yeah,
it's amazing. I saw the clip.
Oh, the big spark.
That's big spark. So how about you, Karina? Why did you take the route of VC route or external funding?
In the beginning, kalau pertama kalinya, I think itu lebih ke accident ya.
Okay. Second accident.
Accident. When I moved back itu, I tried several enterprises yang emang on a conventional approach.
Okay.
Apakah itu dari health and wellness, apakah itu dari coffee shop, sampai supporting family business di hospitality, semua kan conventional banget gitu ya. So when we started Little Joy, we also wanna do it conventionally. We think kayak ya udah kita jualan aja kayak biasa gitu, FMCG biasa. Terus I think pas kita itu masih sebulanan tuh cuma 50 juta.
Okay.
Yeah, terus we got approach with our first VC sama beberapa family office yang bilang, let's do this together.
Oh, okay.
But waktu itu tuh kita bukan more on the capital side, tapi lebih ke arah they can help us with the network.
Okay.
Apakah dalam sisi
Yep.
distribution, dalam sisi legal, kan it's so hard for food to get a license kan, lebih yang kayak gitu. Apakah itu dalam market penetration, marketing, branding, lebih kayak gitu.
So
sih.
a lot of other values yang mereka bisa bawa gitu on the table gitu ya, nggak cuman nih duit capital gitu.
So I think it's important for every startup to take the VC money atau funding money itu bukan karena capitalnya sih, tapi lebih ke arah synergize partnership-nya atau collaboration-nya yang membuat kita mungkin kalau di conventional approach perlu mencapai hasil A itu dalam 10 tahun. Tapi kalau misalnya dengan network dari VC atau misalnya pun dari angel itu bisa jadi 5 tahun. Situ sih.
Shorten the period of time untuk get to that point gitu ya. No, I think that's a good reason to take VC money. Certainly you guys had a good accident. not exactly a bad accident. I was expecting, okay. So jadi when you take that investment, you knew from then on that okay, I'm taking their money not just because I want their money, because ada other value yang mereka bisa provide gitu ya. Kayak distribution tadi mungkin a lot of things, karena as you know, building a company is not easy, and you certainly need partner, and you need to have a partner of a partner that knows more than we do at the time, right? And mungkin sekarang, how long have you been doing Little Joy for?
I think this is our third year.
Third year, nice. And you how long have you been?
1 year-ish.
1 year.
Yeah, I think so.
Okay. So yeah, definitely a lot of people yang kita ketemu along the way kan. Have an effect to our business gitu kan. So I think that's an excellent route as to why you take the VC money. Now, probably a bit easier conversation time. How do you define your work-life balance? I wanna hear from both of you. So how do you consider work-life balance? Is it a myth, or is there such thing for startup founders?
I think in the beginning it's probably tough.
Yeah.
Right? Like with small team and
You gotta do everything.
Yeah, agreed. But I think later on now when we have like a bigger team, and then they can help out each other. Now slightly
easier.
Yeah.
Slightly easier.
Okay. I can finally do sports.
Okay.
Hang out with friends.
Yeah. So you got some time for yourself.
Yeah. But definitely in the beginning, I think it was a bit tough.
Yeah.
But also because you were like so excited and so focused on it too, like you didn't really think about other things as well. So I wouldn't say it was bad either for not having like a work-life balance, because I think at that time you were just.
But do you think it's
exciting.
a myth, or is it a thing? Work-life balance.
I think it's a thing.
Yeah.
Or yeah. Or like what Jeff Bezos said, work-life harmony. So work-life balance, work-life harmony.
Yeah. There's no such. He doesn't like the word work-life balance.
Yeah.
How about you, Karina? Do you think work-life balance is a thing, or is a fad?
Interestingly, too, last week. I was interviewed as well for a magazine tuh on a personal wellness. The same question tuh juga sama, work-life balance tuh gimana?
Yeah.
What I told them adalah mungkin harus ada weekly routine kali ya.
Okay.
And know when to stop.
Okay.
Karena kan soalnya kalau entrepreneur tuh misalnya baru baca grup jam 10 malam. Dia kayak, oh shit, kayak gue harus benerin ini. Pasti gatel kan tangannya. Karena it seems like ini tuh your baby gitu. So I think the important thing adalah know when to stop juga gitu. Toh juga kalau kamu balas jam 12 malam, dia juga mungkin kerjain jam 12 malam.
That's kind of true. That is kind of true. That's kind of true.
And I think the other one is orang-orang tuh ngerasa kayak, oh it's so kayak unproductive atau ngerasa kayak it's a waste of time to just chill on bed and scrolling on social media.
Okay.
I think tuh menurut aku ya.
This is good. I mean, this is unpopular opinion, right? Because no one, a lot of people saying, "Oh, you're just wasting your time scroll media on the thing." But okay, let's hear it.
But having time for yourself, soalnya kan misalnya on the daily basis tuh selalu kita tuh ketemu orang, selalu tuh kita harus mikir misalnya, even ketemu ngobrol meeting aja, gue jawab apa ya, dia ngomong apa gitu.
I hope this session is not taking too much of your bandwidth prior few days ago.
So having the time for yourself, apakah menurut mereka tuh yang produktif itu pilates, apakah menurut mereka yang produktif tuh painting, apakah menurut mereka yang produktif tuh scrolling on TikTok for like 1 hour gitu, let's say, itu menurut dia bisa increase the personal wellness sih. I think it's okay gitu kan. I think it's okay.
Okay.
Like I have once a week on the Saturday atau Sunday gitu.
Yeah. What are
just
you doing?
chilling on the bed like scrolling on TikTok.
Oh really?
Okay.
So you have your me time during that. Yeah. And I think that's important to point out the fact that you're not embarrassed to say, okay, that's my me time. That's what I like to do. So yeah, I'm allowed to do it on my personal time. And yeah, because a lot of people saying, oh, I'm spending my me time on a more productive, going paddle, or sports, you do sports or reading books or meditations, a lot of things like that. But thank you for being open about it. That's amazing.
That's not my defense mechanism.
No, not at all. It's a fresh perspective the way I see it, right? Like sometimes I had to kind of lie to myself saying, okay, I'm scrolling Instagram a lot. And then I have to say, oh, how should I put this? I would say to myself, no, you're not scrolling Instagram because you're slacking. You're researching. That's what I told myself. That's what I lie to myself. So yeah, but it's good. So what about yourself? What do you do on a downtime?
Chilling in bed as
well. Man, you guys like a bunch of introverts, it sounds. Huh?
Gotta recharge. Mine is on Sunday. She's on Saturday.
Cool. Now, let's move back a little bit onto your goals with your business. What are the one milestone you're working towards? Let's say this year or the following year. What kind of milestone that you set for yourself for your business?
More money.
Oh, sure. Yeah, cuan cincai ceng.
The hashtag right away.
Yeah, hashtag.
I think definitely like increasing traction.
Yep.
Yeah. We launched like 2 other subsidiaries last quarter.
Yep.
So I think from there we're trying to like boost all of them to increase the revenue.
Which one? Sorry, a quick one. Just what subsidiary you're talking about? Different business units?
Yeah. So we did launch ArcoProp and ArcoBuild. One of them is for selling real estate. Okay. And then the other one is just more like renovation and then construction
for projects and that.
Yeah.
Cool.
Trying to boost the revenue.
That's the name of the game these days.
Yeah.
Right? And so that's the milestone that you obviously you already put a target on the wall in the office somewhere, saying that we need to
gotta do like that.
We have target everyone. We have this target. Let's hit it.
Yeah.
Cool.
Numbers down to the dot.
Exactly. Cool.
Achieve it.
How about you, Karina? What's the milestone? What are the milestones that you're trying to target this year or next year?
This year, jadi kemarin kita baru companies meeting lah gitu for end of year gitu.
Town hall kind of stuff. Kayaknya agak-agak alergi gitu ya kalau denger town hall. Gitu.
Gue ke layoff gak ya?
Enggak. But it went well. I'm pretty sure it went well. Terus
we realized kayak ada interesting data that customer kita for the whole year itu per quarter especially ya kayak di Maluku, Nusa Tenggara Barat, yang di Papua tuh naik per quarter tuh 20% gitu kan. Terus kita realize kayak kok maksudnya dengan shipping sebanyak itu, memang kita udah ada fulfillment center di Surabaya ya, tapi kan tetap mahal ya, tetap mahal. Kok mereka tetap masih mau beli gitu. So our objective this year adalah kita mau naikin kita punya penetration, especially ke tier 3 and tier 4 cities, di mana memang the impact juga lebih sustainable, dan juga kita juga see ada interest dan produk kita tuh ternyata mau loh mereka makan, lebih kayak gitu sih. Dan yang kedua adalah in terms of education. Mungkin kayak misalnya kita beli komputer gitu ya, kita udah beli canggih banget semua hardware-nya sampai bisa nyala-nyala gitu misalnya. In our case mungkin produk kita gitu ya, semoga ya in terms of the lab, in terms of research itu semua bagus gitu, the good hardware. Tapi sama aja nih kayak komputer tanpa a good software buat complement the hardware, dia juga nggak bekerja optimal. Nah berikut juga dengan kita gitu kan. Kalau produk itu udah bagus, tapi terus kita nggak support apakah itu secara knowledge sharing atau misalnya secara kayak education dengan expert, juga nggak akan optimal gitu. Lebih kayak gitu sih. So
interesting. Mungkin follow up questions on the notes. You mentioned two kan tadi. Yang pertama access more access to those yang di luar pulau gitu kan. Sama yang kedua itu adalah educations. Nah, how do you put metrics on that? Kayak apa sih yang bisa dijadiin patokan gitu? Kalau misalnya your goals what your goals trying to set itu bisa successful di situ gitu.
Kalau in terms of product pastinya dari growth misalnya check out di online marketplace gitu yang end of data gitu kan. Terus yang kedua mungkin in terms of kayak distributor juga apakah ada peningkatan number of doors di area-area terpencil itu.
Number of apa sorry?
Number of doors.
Doors.
Ya jadi kalau distributor itu kita bilang lu berapa nih sekarang NOO-nya naik. NOO tuh misalnya buka di baby shop mana, buka di supermarket mana gitu.
I see. Okay.
Jadi misalnya sekarang kita punya NOO tuh ada sekitar 1.300 lebih gitu misalnya. Nah misalnya by the end of the quarter itu 1.800. Oh apakah 500-nya ini kebanyakan di Jakarta juga atau misalnya ada di daerah yang tier 2, tier 3. Kalau misalnya itu nggak tercapai, apakah dari tim offline itu ada distributor lokal di sana? Itu lebih matriksnya gitu in terms of product. Kalau in terms of education, jadi kita tuh punya platform community gitu. Ada di WA gitu, sekitar total berapa ya sekarang 10 ribuan. Mereka tuh setiap hari sharing. Sampai ada to the point tuh mereka apa ya? Bisa share hasil buang airnya anak itu di foto di pampersnya, terus kayak anak saya tuh kenapa gitu, apakah ini merupakan hasil yang sehat, apakah dari warnanya gitu sampai se-intimate itu gitu. So I think the metrics itu selain number of community juga kita track apakah seberapa engage, seberapa at the end of the day mereka tuh jadi brand advocate kita. During our first year tuh dan kita tuh sekarang bisa ada hari ini itu tuh karena mereka gitu. Jadi pertama misalnya mereka join WhatsApp group, ini apaan sih? Kok ini bubuk cuma isinya 20 gram harganya 40.000 gitu. Misalnya kayak gitu. Terus misalnya ada dokter nih, tahu nggak sih gitu kan, protein tuh penting, ini tuh penting. Terus kita follow up, dengan produk kita tuh lu tiap serving tuh kecukupan gizinya segini loh misalnya kayak gitu. Sampai dia 6 bulan kemudian gitu, dia kayak misalnya ada grup emak lagi yang baru masuk tuh. Terus saya bilang, ini produk apaan sih? Kayak gue harus pakai produk apa? Ada juga yang bilang kayak, ini anak saya masih nggak suka makanannya rasanya kayak makanan burung. Ada juga kayak gitu. Soalnya kan kita nggak pakai gula garam MSG kan. Gitu, misalnya kayak gitu. Terus
that's a tough market to educate ya.
Iya, soalnya kayak terus jadi dia bisa ngomong, anak saya nih sukanya yang varian ini gitu kan. Emang dia tuh nggak ada tambahan gini-gini, makanya rasanya kayak gitu. Atau coba deh kalau misalnya emang bayi tuh membutuhkan 10-15 kali percobaan supaya dia decide suka atau nggak. Bisa sampai ngomong kayak gitu. Gitu, dan itu juga memberikan domino effect ke kita punya e-commerce ya, gitu kayak kita punya affiliator, ada yang sampai kebeli stroller, kebeli iPhone, TV, dan mereka tuh senang, mereka tuh kayak ini tuh duit hasil gue, bukan suami gue yang beliin iPhone gitu. Jadi kalau misal anak gue butuh stroller, nih gue jualan Little Joy bisa kebeli stroller.
Independent woman. That's interesting.
Interesting. That can also be a matrix. Apakah in terms of growth affiliator gitu? Karena kalau mereka nggak believe in the product, pastinya mereka nggak mau ya, especially emak-emak. Gitu. Karena kan kalau misalnya mereka promosiin barang untuk bayi, di mana bayi itu very delicate. Contoh kalau kita mungkin nggak cocok sama makanan diare. Tapi kalau misalnya bayi ada kesalahan dalam makanan, dia bisa langsung di-off-nama gitu. Gitu. Jadi they have to believe in the product. They have to trust the product untuk apakah mereka konsumsi sendiri atau mereka promosiin gitu.
Okay. Wow. So the target market now when it comes to educations, kayaknya banyak banget gap yang memang mesti bisa di close gitu ya. Kayak ya gampangnya aja kayak karbohidrat sama protein tadi yang you mention. Terus why the protein portion should be a lot higher than the carbohydrate gitu kan. Jadi I feel like there's a big market that needs to be educated and to be solved in that regards.
It's a long journey.
It's a long journey. Gue aja baru tahu. Like, okay, 1 telur sehari, it's good. Okay. So the last question probably is the bonus. What is? Probably Laura first can go. What is the any other quirky thing about working with your sister that people wouldn't expect?
Quirky itu kayak apa contoh?
I think we're so like in sync sometimes.
Yeah.
That we just like, ini yang itu, ingat
the same person in 2 bodies kind of thing.
I think when we were like in meetings sometimes we're like, ingat gak yang merah itu gitu, and then.
Udah cuma ngomongin itu.
Oh yang ini, yaudah coba yang itu gitu.
Okay.
I don't think we were that in sync with our brother. Sometimes he would like confuse itu yang mana gitu. But for us, I think we're just like yang ini gitu. And then yang itu langsung tahu gitu.
Wow, you guys sounds like a twins to me.
Because we have like
soalnya kita gapnya tuh kecil banget, cuma 1 tahun lebih.
Oh really?
Setengah lah ya.
No, because I remember kan we are in the same batch of Endeavor, and then you were in the same batch of Startup Studio, right? I met you first, and then at one Endeavor event, I was like, "Are you Laura's sister?" That's my icebreaker. And he was like, "Yeah, I'm the sister." Okay, you look alike. That's why. What is it about her working with her that you dislike?
With her?
Yeah.
Apa sih?
I don't want to start a riff in the family, but I wanna know, like, because I don't think I can work with my brothers or my sister. So.
Oh really?
No, I don't think so. But there has to be something that you don't like. I wanna know.
I think she's a bit slow.
It comes with a slow decision making, it seems.
I think so.
Huh?
But I trust her decision result. So take your time.
It's okay. I understand.
Take your time.
How about you, Karina? What do you don't like about working with your sister?
Nothing.
Oh, she's been great.
I think I can be OCD in particular reason.
Okay.
Contoh misalnya, kalau nggak pakaiannya baru atau udah bersih tuh nggak bisa ke ranjang.
Oh.
Ya, tapi kalau misalnya dia tuh sometimes dari atas, dari mobil langsung lompat ke ranjang aku. Itu paling itu.
Okay.
You're just tired.
Yeah, everyone has their own style, right? Okay, that kind of piss you off sometimes.
Yeah.
Not sometimes, all the time.
All the time. Guys, what's going on? And that's not even a working relationship. That's like someone's like sharing a house.
Yeah. But you get used to it.
You get used to it.
Yeah.
It's amazing. Guys, this has been such a fun conversations, and thank you so much for coming, and best of luck with your business.
Yeah, thank you for the invite. You
thank
too.
You.